Hey everybody, Dr. Ben here, Functional Medicine Centers. I'm in Fort Collins, Colorado. We have our office in Phoenix, Arizona. Love to educate, love to get information out. Let's talk about inflammation. Let's talk about good and bad fats. And not necessarily bad or good, but just what ratios and where should we be with our fats. So if you guys haven't heard about the omega-3s and omega-6s lately, it had its kind of heyday probably 10, 15 years ago. Lots of people were talking about this, fish oils, flaxseed oil, all these type of things. People have moved on to other things like turmeric and a bunch of different things. Hey Randy, good to see you out there. Go ahead and put where you're watching in from. Love to see where everybody is watching in from, all over the country, all over the world. And go ahead and put any messages in, any questions on there as well. Tell us what you're doing to get your good fats in. Tell me what you're eating that is a good fat for you. And if you have any questions, or if you need to be eating a different type of fat. So go ahead and feel free to pop those down below. All right, so omega-3 and omega-6. This is a concept that's been around for a long time, and yet a lot of people have forgotten about it. They're not thinking about it as much, especially as they start going into more of this keto, paleo kind of craze and eating a lot more meat. So omega-3 fats are going to have more anti-inflammatory properties to them, and they're going to be beneficial on a lot of levels to the body, to the heart, to the brain, a lot of different things. Omega-6, unfortunately, can convert over into arachidonic acid, which is this inflammatory issue. Hey, Catherine, good to see you out there in Oklahoma. The omega-6s unfortunately can convert over. Traditionally in the paleo world, hey Linda, good to see you in Southern Illinois, coconut oil in the coffee, all right, 2 tablespoons a day. That's a great source of some good fats there, some saturated fat. So traditionally, if you were out hunting and gathering and doing all of that, the omega-3 to omega-6 ratio would be about 1 to 2. And so there was a lot of omega-3 compared to omega-6. In today's SAD, they call it standard American diet, right? The standard American diet is more like 1 of omega-3 to about 20 of omega-6. So the ratio is what's really out of balance. So that's what I was saying. It's not necessarily a bad fat. When we start talking about what the omega-6s are, they aren't bad in general, but it's when that ratio gets that far out of balance. So it should be about 1 to 2 ratio, but it's really 1 to 20 ratio in today's day and age. Okay, so that's going to contribute to a lot of the inflammation. And yesterday we were talking about anxiety actually being an inflammatory issue. If you didn't see that video, go ahead and catch up on that one yesterday. Really mind-blowing for a lot of people that have been thinking anxiety is a brain thing. So that is huge. So here's where some of the omega-3s come from. Omega-3s come from fish, salmon, mackerel, some things like that. Cod liver oil. Anybody give me a thumbs up if grandma made you take cod liver oil when you were a kid. Oysters, sardines, caviar, anchovies. Some of those smaller fish actually have a lot of good omega-3s in them. 1 can of sardines has about the same amount of omega-3s as 2 capsules of fish oil. So go and eat a can of sardines once or twice a week. And the good part with the smaller fish is that they don't have all of the heavy metals, the toxicities, PCBs, dioxins, all these bad things that have kind of saturated into the big fish like a tuna, things like that. So the small fish, they're not eating lots of other things that have those toxins, and then they eat another thing that has toxins and eat another thing. And so the big fish really get saturated with these toxins. So flax seeds, chia seeds, and walnuts are the others that have a lot of good omega-3s. All right, so that's the omega-3 side. Then on the omega-6 side, this is going to be more corn oil, soybean oil, safflower, sunflower. Some nuts and seeds are going to do it. Most grains are going to have more omega-6. And here's the big one: grain-fed cow, beef, chickens, grain-fed, whatever, is going to have a lot higher omega-6 ratio as well. So if you are eating out, you are getting corn, soy, safflower, sunflower, one of those oils in what you're eating. So if you're eating any place, even Chick-fil-A or whatever, on a daily basis, you're getting a high percentage of omega-6 fats in there. That's going to get way more inflammatory into that process. So here's the important part. A lot of you have heard about grass-fed beef or grass-fed animals, and this is why wild game is so important and such a valuable tool for so many people. If you were going to get grass-fed raw milk, so if the cows were getting milked and they were just on grass, that omega-3, omega-6 ratio is basically the same as wild-caught salmon. So similar ratios with grass-fed beef, with grass-fed chickens, wild pigs running around and rooting around and eating nuts and seeds and grass, things like that. So the problem with the standard American diet now is that we have a lot of these wrong fats coming in, the corn, soy, safflower, sunflower, any of those type of things, and then the grain fed. So if somebody's eating a lot of meat, if they're eating a paleo diet, a keto diet, things like that, but it's mostly grain fed, that's going to be increasing your inflammation dramatically. So remember, it's not just about, hey, let's eat some salmon once or twice a week, let's take some fish oil. You've got to get down the omega-6s, not just build up the omega-3s. And this is a really key point I want you guys to think about. You can't just substitute poor diet, standard American diet, with some fish oil. That's not how it works. You've got to get down the bad, build up the good, just like everything we talk about. Stop damaging and start repairing. So you've got to look at it from this whole perspective, calm down what you're doing on the bad stuff, build up the good stuff, and that's where you're going to get the inflammation down. And we'll see that inflammation start changing all over the body. It's going to be in joints, it's going to be in your brain, anxiety is going to start going down. All these different situations are going to start changing. So that omega-3 to omega-6 ratio, let's recap, should be 1 omega-3 to about 2 omega-6 in your diet. The standard American diet is 1 to 20. So, hey, Catherine, you've got the raw milk dairy local. I need to be going there more often. Absolutely. And you can, even if you don't want to sit there and drinking milk, you can do yogurt, you can do some cheese, things like that. Even in the health food store, you can get raw milk cheese that's grass-fed. So I would highly encourage, if you or your family's doing any cheese, get the raw milk and the grass-fed cheese and go about that way. If you're able to get any raw milk yogurt, some things like that, if you can do some dairy, that's going to be a lot better choice there. Hey Brandy, good to see you there in St. Paul. So again, omega-3 to omega-6 ratio, really, really important for inflammatory process in the body. Inflammation affects everything. Every cell in the body has a cytokine receptor on there, and so every cell in the body is going to respond to cytokine, pro-inflammatory or anti-inflammatory. So let's be more on the anti-inflammatory side and keep your body as healthy as possible. Make it a great day, everybody. Take care.